In the previous video, we learned about harmonic context and function. Let's see what else we can discover about how music works through analysis. We'll begin with taking a look at a very simple piece of music. This is one of the most well-known pieces of music in the world, London Bridge is Falling Down. Possibly dating back to the Middle Ages, the first records of this melody date back to the 17th century, since which the text has not changed much considerably. This particular version sounds like this. Let's use what we've learned about harmonic context and function to analyze this piece. Since we see no sharps or flats in the key signature and we recognize the piece in major mode, we will indicate that our tonal center is C. For quick reference, I will write out the C major scale with scale degrees 1, 4, and 5 that we studied in the previous video in letters. We'll use this reference scale anytime we need to quickly recall the composition of our primary scale degrees. When analyzing, we always begin from the bottom of our pitch material and analyze up. If needed, we can look for more information going forward after that. The first beat of the first bar gives me the notes C, E, G, and G. I can see that each of these notes fit into scale degree 1. I'll mark this underneath the beginning of the bar. Since I see the left hand of the piece follows a similar pattern, for now I will continue to analyze the first chord in each bar. The second bar gives me C, E, G, and E on the first beat, also fitting neatly into scale degree 1. Bar 3 gives me B, D, G, and D. Let's pause and dissect this. At first, since B is the starting note, we might think that we are dealing with scale degree 7. However, a triad from B gives me B, D, F, while this is B, D, G. Reorganizing these notes, I see I actually have G, B, D just out of order. This change in order is called an inversion. The original GBD is called root position. If I take the bottom G and raise it an octave, I get BDG instead, or first inversion. If I invert this again by raising the B, I get DGB, or second inversion. One more inversion puts me back in root position. Inversions are formally notated by their interval distance from the bottom note. For example, in root position, the distance between G and D is a fifth, and G and B is a third. Therefore, this is known as a 5/3 chord. In first inversion, the distance between B and G is a sixth, and the distance between B and D is a third. This is known as a 6/3 chord. In second inversion, the distance between D and B is a sixth, and the distance between D and G is a fourth. This is a 6/4 chord. Looking at my third bar in London Bridge, I see that I am actually dealing with a scale degree 5 in first inversion. In the fourth bar, we see a return to scale degree 1 with C, E, G, E. To be a bit more specific, let's indicate the function of each of these chords. The first two have a tonic function, the third a dominant, and the last a tonic. This completes my harmonic analysis. In other words, I've discovered what scale degrees are being used and describes their function. Now, before continuing, it is very important that my analysis pass the ear test. It's fine to write a bunch of fancy numbers underneath music, but if what we're teaching is true, it should also sound like what we've described. The harmonic progression should sound like it begins from a place of no tension, builds to tension, then resolves that tension. Let's give it a listen. I'll play back only the scale degrees we've described. Indeed, we can hear the tension we've described in the third bar, then its resolution. Now let's listen to the entire version and see if we can pick out that same progression or function. Now that you can hear it, you'll be able to start hearing tonic and dominant functioning harmonies in any music you listen to. There's one thing left in our analysis. We've described the notes on the downbeats. What about the rest of the notes? We'll discover that there are only two types of notes, harmonic tones and non-harmonic tones. Harmonic tones are notes that are already outlined in the harmony. For example, the very first note in the right hand is a harmonic tone. Obviously, G will sound consonant with C, E, G. A and F, however, are not part of the outlined harmony. They are non-harmonic tones. Let's go through and circle all non-harmonic tones. In the second bar, F does not fit with C, E, G. In the third bar, the harmony changes to B, D, G, and E and F do not fit. In the last bar, F does not fit with C, E, G. I'll play through this piece and omit all the non-harmonic tones. Here's what the song sounds like without any non-harmonic tones. All the notes work, but it's less interesting. Now I'll play through the piece playing only the non-harmonic tones. Lots and lots of dissonance. If you need a refresher on consonant and dissonant intervals, you should go back and watch lesson 1 again. While the non-harmonic tones don't work on their own, obviously they work within the context of the song because the song itself works. Let's take a look at the 2 basic non-harmonic tones. The first is a passing tone. A passing tone is found on a weak beat, approached by step from a harmonic tone on a weak beat, and resolved by step in the same direction to a harmonic tone on a strong beat. It would sound like this. The next is a neighbor tone. A neighbor tone is found on a weak beat, approached by step from a harmonic tone on a strong beat, and resolved by step in the opposite direction to a harmonic tone on a strong beat. It would sound like this. Now to analyze the remaining notes in London Bridge. In bar 1, the A is clearly a neighbor tone. The F is a passing tone. In bar 2, the F is a passing tone. And in bar 4, the F is also a passing tone. Already looking at bar 3, we see a problem. How do we deal with this E and F, both non-harmonic tones one after the other? At this point, we should mention the crucial issue of perspective in musicianship. If you come across an impasse, one of 3 things have happened. Either you've made an error, perhaps you misread a note, or outlined the wrong harmony. In this case, we see we haven't. Or there's some rule or principle you're not aware of. Since we've just begun to study harmony, that's most likely, and indeed, the case. But it's always worth considering the third possibility, that a rule you have learned isn't as hard and fast as originally advertised. It may even be wrong altogether. In this video, we learned about musical analysis, inversions, and non-harmonic tones. In the next lesson, we will discover some new principles that will help us deal with the issues in the third measure of London Bridge.